the triples, not the digital twins. Enjoy.
Thank you very much for the very warm welcome. So each and every one is talking about digital twins since a couple of years. There's big initiatives in the Industry 4.0, for example. But we're about to talk about digital twins in process industries. And as we only have limited time, I would like to jump directly into the discussion with Bart. And what is a digital twin for you, and how is it to be created?
Good question, Manuel. And before answering that question, I would like to give an answer on why. I think the why question is more important than the what. And why do we develop a digital twin? We would like to ensure the competitiveness of the production plants. And I think that is the reason that digital twin is in life. And going into the what question, if you think about all the challenges you see today, cost pressure, disruptive supply chains more than ever. You see faster time to market. You see also the pressure on sustainability, a carbon neutral footprint. If you think about that, this can only be met with these challenges, can only be met with, I think, a data-centric approach. And that is typically what we do with a software as a service, open and scalable platform. Digital twin platform. And then if you think about how to implement it, that was the second part of your question, we really have to look into 3 phases. So we first have to collect, then we have to clean it, we have to digitize the data and to contextualize. That's the first phase. And then in the second phase, we try to make the interconnection between the operations and the engineering world. And then the last part, that's maybe the even challenging part, there we try, of course, to have feed forwards and feed backward loops, meaning that we have to optimize our digital twin, and that is supported with change management. And I think in general, if you have these 3 elements in place, you're very well suited to drive your production plant in a competitive manner.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So, and when we think about, now we have a definition of a digital twin, more or less, but we want to dive a little bit deeper. I know that in the IFAD fair, which is in parallel, we are showing plant side with Emscher, a big regional water company, and they have implemented dedicated use cases. So Alex, maybe you can give us some insights about how our customers are already working with digital twin approaches.
Yeah, for sure, Manuel. The first thing is we are inventing plant side for the digital twin for the process industries in order to make everybody, let's say, or enable everybody to access data, to make them available for each and everybody who's, let's say, dealing with a plant.
Yeah.
Is it the CEO? Is it the blue-collar worker? Is it the middle management? So everybody who has to deal with a plant in our days should access data in a contextualized way, as easy as possible, of course, and therefore we have invented this solution. It's a cloud-based solution, so that it doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what content you are looking for, plant side is offering you this content. And that's exactly what we are doing with our customers. Emscher, for example, who are presenting this use case today in Munich, they are doing it exactly for this reason. The top management would like to access data for the fleet management, would like to know the performance of all their plants. And then the operations manager of one plant would like to get his insights of this plant, because finally he's interested in top performance, energy consumption down to a minimum, but the best production result. So that's the asset portal of plant side, where all users can access their data as they need it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is basically a very good use case for operational view, for plant operations, because we all know we have plant lifetimes of more than 30 years. So I think there's a big potential to optimize there. But you said it before, we are also like creating a digital twin. For me, that sounds a bit like engineering. So maybe Alex, again, do we also have dedicated use cases how a digital twin in engineering can result in some benefits like time savings, wherever?
Yeah, good question, Manuel. Clear answer, yes, it can. So we do not only start in the operations area, but we start during the engineering phase. So whenever major EPCs, for example, and we have a big project up and running, at the moment we are not allowed to name the customer, but it's really a big one. And they are using plant side in order to do the clash management of a global EPC project. Mm-hmm. So for a major power plant, and they are doing the design review in the cloud with all their subcontractors who are involved in dedicated parts of this project. They can then dial in talk about the clashes, talk about the design review activities, and then assign jobs, how to perform, how to progress. And that's exactly the beauty of this system.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where your subcontractors are. Let's say also in respect to COVID, they can really talk to each other. They can continue with their work and ensure that the progress will be in time, in quality delivered. And that's a big advantage what Plantat is offering for design review, for example.
Yeah.
And there are many more use cases. We can't cover them all today, but maybe later on.
Yeah. So for me, this is like a typical, very good example for global collaboration, because nowadays we have sub-suppliers in India, maybe we have our engineering offices or contributors in other parts of the world. So being able to work together in real time and with consistent data seems to be very important. And
Exactly.
maybe we talked about data aggregation, we talked about engineering now, and also Bart, maybe how, from your perspective, can a digital twin also help to improve the plant performance? Something that you mentioned initially.
Indeed, yeah. And I just want to refer to Alex. So it's also to stay relevant. So if you think about building a plant and operating a plant in Europe, for example, being able to do it in a digital manner and maintain it and keep it evergreen will also keep the know-how and the competences in the region available. And I think that is also important to stay in run and competitive in this environment. And the same is true if you look from an operational point into a plant. Typically what you have to do is to identify the critical assets, critical equipment, and in the combination with operational intelligence, you can of course create transparency, combine it with engineering data, then you understand what components can be critical, and combining it with integrated models, you can even predict a failure before it occurs. And I think that is very important in that combination, that you can identify the critical assets, try to prevent that it happens, and try to ensure that critical components or spare parts will be already in place before the time the accident will happen. And that's what we do at the moment in oil and gas, for example, where you see that they really benefit from this approach.
Yeah, okay. So, and if we then think about also the simulation topic, because I think we talk about operator training systems to train our operators already before the plant goes into operation, then it's very smart to also link it with immersive training simulators to train the field staff. Is this something that you can also give us some insights how this is maybe already implemented on customer side?
Training people, especially in hazardous environment, is important from an EHS point of view, but also from a reliability point of view. So we have to ensure that people are trained, but also that they can be supported at the time they have to deploy a maintenance activity. But in the virtual environment, we can create scenarios where they can be trained in like it is in real life. And I think if we simulate this based on different what-if hypotheses, then these employees or operators or maintenance folks, they can already understand the criticality, but also choose the right pattern, being able to optimize the state of their production plant at the time it is needed.
Mm-hmm. Alex, you wanted to add something to this?
Yeah, I mean, the environmental health and safety is a non-negotiable topic, I guess, right?
Yes, definitely.
So there is no way that we can say yes, maybe, or let's wait, or let's don't invest because we have to save money. So that's where Plantat can help a lot in doing so. So if you see the let's say importance of the safety, for example, to avoid big accidents or even small accidents, it's always good to train people before they enter a plant, during commissioning time, during the operational setup time. And therefore, Plantat can offer you access to the data models, to the environment itself. Mm-hmm. So people like operators, like blue-collar workers can be trained up front before they enter the plant itself. And therefore, they are familiar, they know where the risks are, and then they can behave in a safe way. And that's, as I said, non-negotiable from my point of view.
Yeah. And if I may add to that, it's very important that we always have the latest update of the production plant, especially if you think about accidents. So not having relevant information is crucial. Therefore, again, the closed loop you saw over there, maybe the digital worker. And that's just one element out of our scenario where we can close the loop. So if they identify gaps, they can report these gaps, send it back to the engineering design organization, and they make sure that our digital twin will stay evergreen. And if you think from a hazardous point of view, not negotiable as you said. That's, I think, where organizations and people would like to stay out of the picture. And I think that is also where we see a big benefit of creating a digital twin.
Yeah, and if I may add another topic part, it's a safety is one thing, and then we are talking about CO2 emissions, and it's also if you can simulate topics, and let's say you got a production loss or high consumption of energy. Let's say by simulating this, you can also train your people how to react in different cases, in different run cases, scenarios, so to avoid these accidents or shutdowns of plants. And if you train them, they can behave much more and react much more faster with a high accuracy. And then you can save energy, you can save CO2 emissions because you simply know what is happening in the plant. People are trained to behave in the right way, and then they can do the right or can make the right decisions at the right time. And that's, for me, it's crucial.
Yeah. So I think that also makes very clear that digital twins are not something to create only for the purpose of having a digital twin. It can increase safety. It can also be a big lever for increased sustainability in process plants. And I just have a look at the time, but there's not so much time left. But I've 2 questions left that I would like you to answer. One is, I think we understood that there's a lot of benefit and potential with digital twins. But if I come to you, Bart, and say, that sounds great, but where should I start? What would be the short answer?
The short answer, you saw all these use cases, and I think typically what people do is they start where the pain is the highest or where the return on investment is the highest. And in my view, you really should take that holistic view. Think about the use cases and the domain expertise we have. Try to neutralize these, leverage on these use cases, and try to optimize them, train the people, and roll them out. That's what we can offer. Secondly, that holistic approach is based on an open ecosystem, and that's also crucial. So don't see a use case as an island. The combination of the use cases, that's where you also can benefit from. And at the end, the ecosystem will support you in the scalability, but also in the interactivity between these use cases. And I think where can a person start from? From that holistic approach, think about that data lake, that platform, and then identify use cases where you see the benefits and leverage on the use cases which we have already implemented by other customers.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds like a very clear strategy to me. And last question, maybe this is also interesting. We're talking, as I said in the beginning, since a couple of years about digital twins, how to create them. But my question would be again, but what do you see? What are the future trends? How will digital twins develop? How can they be even more powerful?
In my view, we just start. You see the interest of a digital twin, it will evolve and it will be more globally applicable. That is for 100% sure. And imagine you can run in a production plant, and in that plant you will see the future. That is where we will go to. So the new technologies, think about augmented reality. We can today already with a tablet, but the HoloLens is not yet mature enough for the industry. Will come and will give you new opportunities to have support in production facilities, remotely available, and giving guidance to maybe new trained people. Secondly, combine it with these integrated models where you can predict based on the complete data lake information you have available, and then enrich that with artificial intelligence. And that is again very important. We learn a lot. And what we have learned, we should try to build into algorithms, offer it back to the audience, to our operators or to the plant manager, that he can see what was the root cause from the past. Will it help me? But also the system can predict in the best option for the future. And I think that is where, in my opinion, we will go to as an implementation from an holistic point of view, but with a clear focus on, in my opinion, a system, a layer next to the ERP system and the shop floor. Yeah. And maybe to make that statement, I personally believe it's not a wish anymore. It is a must-have. And that is the way I, at the moment, identify it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's non-discussable topic. If you do nothing, it's meanwhile more expensive than doing these things and going for the future. And that's what we can offer here, right?
Indeed. And the cost at the moment is higher of doing nothing than starting the
That-
journey. And I think that is your
is the
expression.
statement.
I like this one. And I also believe it. That's also the feedback we receive from customers.
Yeah, so I think this is a very strong and clear message as we can keep in mind. Just for you as a short information, we're over there at the other side of the booth. If you have questions, if you want to talk to the expert and see what's already there for in regard to digital twins and plant site, just come over, visit us. And yeah, thank you very much for your attention.